Today, we're going to talk about the first appearances and key issues for the greatest day of the week. New Comic Book Day, July 6th, 2022. That's coming up next. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr, and this is the Small Town Collectibles YouTube channel. So before we jump into all the cool covers, the first appearances, and the key issues this week, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscription button, turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when I put out new content, smash that like button, and leave a comment below and let me know what you think about the video. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's jump into our first category, and as always, that's the covers. A lot of really nice covers out this week. First up from DC, we've got Batman Killing Time #5, the Cover C incentive from Ben Oliver. I think this cover is sick. This is an absolutely fantastic rendition of the Penguin. Absolutely love this one. It is an incentive cover, so it's going to be a little more expensive, but if I find it for the right price, this is a must pick up for me this week. Batman #125, the Cover J incentive from Jock. This is a full cover, and this is much like some of the previous Jock covers. It's got that yellow background. Absolutely love this one. I think Jock has been killing it on these covers. Can't wait to go on the hunt for this one. Next up from DC, we've got DC vs. Vampires #7, the Cover B variant from Francisco Mattina. Absolutely love these covers by Mattina. What was it? Deceased, Dead Planet. Now you got DC vs. Vampires, and he did all these zombified covers. Absolutely love this one. This one's of Harley Quinn. Just sick. I've been picking all these up, so I'll definitely be grabbing this one this week. One of my favorite covers this week comes from Joker, and that's Joker #15. This is the Cover D incentive from Guillaume March. This is a fantastic cover with Bane and Vengeance on the cover. I dig the gray smoky backgrounds. I think Bane's a badass either way. I love the character Vengeance, and so yeah. Another incentive cover this week, but if it's another one, if I can find it for the right price, I have to grab it. Poison Ivy #2, this is the Cover B from Jenny Friesen. I love Jenny Friesen's art #1, but I especially love it when she does Poison Ivy, and this is another Jenny Friesen. The eyes that she does on these female characters, they get me every time. I love this cover of Poison Ivy kind of laying in the flowers. So yeah, another must pick up for me this week. I don't generally buy for covers, and I don't generally have a ton of covers on this list, but this week and the last couple of weeks I've had several. But yeah, absolutely love this one. Poison Ivy #2, the Jenny Friesen variant. This next book comes from Image, and this is Starhenge book #1, The Dragon and the Boar #1. This is the Cover F variant by Ryan Brown. This is just another, as I've said on here many times, if it just jumps out at me, I generally put it on this list, and this one definitely jumped out to me. Love Ryan Brown's work, and I think this cover is absolutely sick. Absolutely dig this one. From Marvel, we've got Sabretooth #5, the Cover B variant from Peach Momoko. As I've said, probably the last 3 videos in a row, Peach either works for me or she doesn't, but she's had some covers of late that have really worked for me, and I dig this Sabretooth cover. Last cover on the list this week, also from Marvel, that's Strange Academy #18, the variant cover by Ryan Stegman. Again, I don't even know why I like this, but it just stood out to me, and I was like, dude, that's fire. Have to put it on the list this week. Want to make sure you guys know it's out there. I'm excited for Strange Academy to be back out this week. It's been a while, it seems, since a book has dropped, but I absolutely dig this cover from Stegman. All right, with our covers out of the way, let's jump into our second prints, and we do have a few this week. First up from Marvel, we've got Hulk #7, the Cover I second print from Martin Coccolo. Also, same book, different cover. This is the Hulk #7, Cover J, second print incentive, Gary Frank sketch variant cover. Of course, these covers are from the Banner of War series that's going on right now. I think this is Banner of War Part 3. Don't like this one. I think it was last week that there was a sketch cover out for one of these second printings for Hulk that I really loved. Don't like this one as well, but still pretty cool. Maybe something that you want to grab. Also, along the same line, this is Banner of War. We've got Thor #25, Cover J second print from Martin Coccolo. Then we also have the #25, Cover K second print. This is the incentive sketch cover from Gary Frank. As I said, this is the Banner War, and I think this one is part 2 of Banner War. So yeah, if you dig second prints, you've got those. from that Banner War series that's been going on between Hulk and Thor. One more second print this week, and that comes from Opus Comics. We've got Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer Volume 2, Number 1. This is the cover eye third print from Carlos Valenzuela. Yeah, sick cover. And all these covers for this Death Dealer have been cool. I've definitely been keeping my eye out for these. Dig this one as well. Maybe something you want to check out too. All right, now let's jump into our one-shots this week, and we do have a few. First up, we've got Stranger Things Summer Special Number 1. Of course, this is a one-shot from Dark Horse. Officers Powell and Callahan patrol the mean streets of Hawkins, Indiana with the enthusiasm of two hefty dash guns pretending to be bloodhounds. Typically, they don't have to chase down more than the occasional petty theft and teenagers smoking reefer, but lately the town has been getting weirder, and while they might not get to the bottom of it, they just might be lucky enough to survive it. So that's Stranger Things Summer Special Number 1, and I do have to say, I just watched the last 2 episodes of Stranger Things that dropped on the first, and in the final episode, there is this just awesome scene where there's a Metallica song involved, and I don't want to give any spoilers here, but just absolutely sick. Love that TV show. Haven't really read many of the comic books, but you do have this one shot out this week. Next up from DC, we've got Black Adam, The Justice Society Files, Hawkman Number 1. This is a one-shot prequel to the Black Adam movie, and I suspect we'll see several of those things coming out as we get closer and closer to the release of Black Adam. From Dynamite, we've got Savage Tales Number 1. Savage Tales is back. This all-new one-shot features 4 tales of brutality, thrills, and spills, and includes the Dynamite debut of 2 up-and-coming artists from the renowned Kubert School. So that's Savage Tales Number 1 from Dynamite this week. And wrapping up our one-shots this week is Bone Orchard Mythos Prelude Number 1. Now this is a free Comic Book Day 2022 book. I put it on here because of who wrote it. A troubled writer books a secluded cabin out on a serene lake in an attempt to get away from his struggling marriage and his impending deadlines. But what he can't know when he arrives is that he is already in the cabin. In fact, he may have always been there. Face to face with his own demons, the writer discovers the first terrifying pieces of the Bone Orchard mythos, a sprawling new horror interconnected universe from the Eisner Award-winning team behind Gideon Falls and Primordial, Andrea Sorrentino and Jeff Lemire. This book also includes exclusive original material. So I don't know if this is anything new, it's just Jeff Lemire, and it said it was a prelude, so I wasn't exactly sure. I wanted to include it because I love Jeff Lemire's work. And excited to pick that one up this week. All right, now that our one-shots are out of the way, let's jump into our key issues. And first up, as always, is DC. Just have the one book from DC this week, but I'm really looking forward to this one. That's Batman number 125. We've got the new creative team of Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez on this book. Ever since Zdarsky wrote that Daredevil run, I have been all over anything. Also Stillwater. I love Stillwater. Anything that Zdarsky has been writing, I've been all over. I'm excited for him to be on this Batman title, and I would definitely be on the lookout for these books because, especially when you have a new writing team, you're generally going to get first appearances and things like that. So I'm definitely picking these books up, and I can't wait to see what Zdarsky does with this title. All right, that is it for DC. So we got a few from Marvel. First up, we've got Black Panther number 7. This story features Tosin, which of course was the character, I think it was Black Panther number 3, the book that kind of blew up. So you've got a story featuring that character this week. Hulk number 7, we've got Banner of War Part 3, which is, of course, as I said earlier, is the Thor Hulk crossover. We get the debut of Iron Man's Celestial Hulkbuster armor, presumably a modification of the Celestial armor introduced in the King in Black event. Then, as I've also mentioned earlier, Strange Academy number 18. This is the final issue of the first chapter and end of the first semester. We possibly have a new creative team slated for the second semester. So yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's been a minute since Strange Academy had a book out. I'd have to check and see, but it feels like it's been a few months at least. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to Strange Academy 18. I've loved this first run of books, this first semester, so to speak. I'm going to go back and read them all over again from 1 to 18 once this one comes out. But yeah, excited that one's out this week. And the book that created so much controversy a couple of weeks ago, has a new book out this week, and that's What If Miles Morales #5. We get the team up of the previously introduced Miles Morales alt-reality characters. So this is a book with all the characters that have been introduced so far. Don't know if this one will create as much controversy as issue #4 did, but yeah, be on the lookout for this one as well. All right, that's it for the big two. Let's jump into our indie companies, and there's a lot of titles that I'm really looking forward to reading this week from the indie companies. First one up comes from Ablaze, and that's Promethe 1313 #1. This is a prequel to the graphic novel Promethe. A woman plagued by apocalyptic visions since being abducted by a UFO, as a child is now hunted by a cult who believes she can ensure their survival. So I think that looks cool. Looking forward to checking that one out. Looking forward to checking this one out too. This comes from Aftershock. There's something wrong with Patrick Todd #1. A runaway uses his telepathic powers to control criminals to rob banks on his behalf. I think that sounds cool. Like, I'm really looking forward to checking that one out. So There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd #1. Again, another one I can't wait to read from AWA Upshot. We've got Absolution #1. While her actions are live streamed to a fickle public, a mercenary is given a month to atone for her misdeeds before the bombs implanted in her brain explode. So yeah, I think that sounds cool. A little live streaming, a little Suicide Squad action, kind of all meshed up together, and you get Absolution #1 from AWA Upshot. From Battle Quest Comics, we've got Nomad, the Unconquerable City of Empty Towers #1. A strange ship falls from the night sky, and Talon, goddess of the moon, sends Nomad to confront her enemies, mysterious beings from the stars. Who are these Ravengers? What do they want? And how can Nomad hope to defeat them alone? That's Nomad, the Unconquerable City of Empty Towers #1 from Battle Quest Comics. Next up, from Black Caravan, we've got Ballad of Gordon Barleycorn #1. Dig that title name. Gordon and his manager Giuseppe are hunted down by a religious debt collector who comes to make him pay for his past. Now Gordon needs to make some quick cash in this groovy adventure that's all about sex, drugs, and musical puppet theater, baby. Yeah, that sounds kind of funny. Sex, drugs, and musical puppet theater aren't things that I would really think go together, but it does in this book from Black Caravan, Ballad of Gordon Barleycorn #1. This is a book I'm actually looking forward to as well, and I actually dig the cover a lot on this one. Almost put it on my covers list. I don't really know why. I actually like the cover a lot, but that's Behemoth #1. Theresa is horrified to wake up and find she's turning into a monster. She learns she's not the only one when the government throws her into a detention camp where others are going through the same transformation. Surrounded by beasts, Theresa tries to hold on to her humanity by training to become a government weapon as part of Project Behemoth. So I think that sounds cool. So basically people are turning into monsters. The government is locking them up, and the only way to really get through this is to become part of this team. I think this sounds dope. That's Behemoth #1, and that's from Black Caravan. From Blood Moon Comics, we've got Not of This World #1. A lunar expedition reveals a bewildering discovery. Inscrutably, the grave of a medieval monk has been found hidden on the moon. The mystery of this find unravels to reveal the thrilling adventure of an extraterrestrial visitor who crashed on Earth during a time of religious wars and feudal obligations. So that's Not of This World #1 from Blood Moon Comics. From Blue Juice Comics, we've got Knights of the Fifth Dimension #1, and easily the longest synopsis that I read this week. And this sounds kind of cool, so I'm going to read the whole thing to you. I'm going to put a picture of the book up here, and then I'm going to read this. But it sounds kind of neat. So, the stories of the Knights are real, and your dreams are sorely needed. William the Wizard Gardner is a reclusive comic book creator and artist who has been the sole voice of the legendary psychedelic Knights of the Fifth Dimension for decades. From comic books to toys and action figures, from cartoons to films, William is the latest of a long line of artists, poets, writers, and musicians tapped to inspire creativity in man in order to combat Vanta Black's spread of self-doubt, despair, and hopelessness in our world. But William grows old and tired, and his once revered comic book series is now relegated to flea markets and bargain bins across the world. Years ago, William enlisted the help of up-and-coming writer-artist Kurt the Great One Gideon to carry on the Knight's legacy. But after a short and successful run, a disillusioned Kurt turned to fame and drugs, becoming an industry pariah. After years of silence, William needs Kurt's help again, but it's not with inking or coloring. Will Kurt continue Williams' legacy and join the long line of dreamers and artists who have kept Vanta Black from seeping into our dimension for generations? And in the comic within the comic, join Krieg-Ah, John 316, Professor Amorphous, the Damned Yankee, and the Spiral Architect as they battle the primordial evil, all while Vanta Black grows more powerful. Just past the edges of our understanding, Kurt realizes his once colorful stories have real-world consequences, and he is needed to journey beyond our dimension to the parallel universe he once believed to be fantasy and join the resistance in the ancient struggle between good and evil. Only then can he save both worlds. Knights of the Fifth Dimension is a love letter to the Bronze Age comic books and a homage to the Jack Kirby creations that still adorn comic book shelves, movie screens, and TV sets everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that sounds cool. Like I said, that's a lot. I just read a lot to you there. So I apologize for that. But when I read it and it kind of explained it, I read it multiple times and I thought, that sounds kind of dope. I love Bronze Age comics. I love Jack Kirby. And so I think Knights of the Fifth Dimension #1 is a must pick up and read for me this week. Maybe that sounds cool to you and you'll want to pick it up as well. Now let's jump over into Dark Horse. We've got Mind MGMT Bootleg #1. This is another book. Like I said, there's just a ton of stuff I think sounds good to read this week. The former leader of Mind MGMT recruits a team of forgotten agents to rebuild the organization, bend reality, and go to war with a competing agency. This is the first publication from Matt Kent's Flux House imprints. So that's Mind MGMT Bootleg #1 from Dark Horse Comics. Now let's jump over to Image. We've got Prodigy Icarus Society #1. This is a mini-series premiere. The Magic Order and King of Spies writer Mark Millar launches a brand new 5-issue series starring Edson Crane, and this time he's brought along amazing Star Wars artist Matteo Buffagni to blow you all away. Edison Crane is the world's smartest man, but what happens when he's targeted by an entire club of geniuses who also fly too close to the sun? Meet the Icarus Society. So I read that first 6-issue series, I believe it was, Prodigy. It was pretty good. It wasn't like mind-blowing, but it was pretty good. So I'm definitely probably going to check this miniseries out as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Prodigy had been optioned for a Netflix show. So it may be something that has some spec value as well. So that is Prodigy Icarus Society #1 from Image Comics. Also from Image, we've got Starhenge Book 1, The Dragon and the Boar #1. This is the book I showed you, had that dope cover. This is a 6-issue series where Merlin travels to the 5th century Britain to prevent monstrous time-traveling robots from robbing the universe of magic. So that could be cool. Not necessarily a big magic guy, but that still sounds cool, and I generally give the #1s from Image a shot anyway. From Mad Cave, we've got Tiger's Tongue #1. Heed the tiger's tongue and you will not be led astray. Under the militant rule of the Tigerish people, empowered by their animal familiars, the Claw is on the brink of war. As the precipice of adulthood, twin princesses Kalindi and Adriani hold the futures of the Claws in their hand. Kalindi would sue for peace with the river's people, those who were subjugated to bring order, while Adriani has never aspired to rule. But an ancient prophecy is revealed that'll force fate's hands for the sisters. So that sounds pretty cool. Tiger Tongue #1 from Mad Cave Studios. And then our last book from our key issues list this week comes from Scout Comics. That's Mega Centurions Mega No More #1. Join Scout Comics for their exciting new sci-fi series Mega Centurions Mega No More. As the Mega Centurions Cassidy, Reggie, and Thad save the world from an alien invasion by the evil Prince Vincor, today they are barely scraping by in dead-end jobs. Things are flipped upside down when a face from their past comes crashing back into their lives. So that, again, kind of like Image. I love Scout, so I generally give all their #1s a read. I'll definitely give this one a read as well. That's Mega Centurions Mega No More #1. All right, and that is it for the key issues this week. Let's jump into our last category, and that's the first appearances. Only 2 this week. Both are from DC. First up, we've got Batman #125, where we get the first appearance of Failsafe, a new Batman villain being compared to Superman's enemy, Doomsday. We also get the first appearance of the Executor. And then wrapping up the first appearances this week, in Monkey Prince #6, we get the first appearance of Sandra, a golf girl who may be an important supporting character to Monkey Prince. So that may be one that you definitely want to grab this week. All right, guys, that is it for the list this week. A lot of cool stuff this week. A lot of great covers, a lot of books that sound really, really interesting to read. I can't wait to get to the LCS on Wednesday, get these picked up, and see what they're all about. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Hope this list helps you in some way make your choices on New Comic Book Day, and I hope you have the greatest New Comic Book Day ever. I know I'm going to. And you know how we end these videos? Until next time.